Who would be a Wolves fan, eh?
On goes ball. People might yet win it here for Wolves. Flash in the shot. What a goal!
Good evening, good morning, wherever you may be. It's the boys from the Fancast. Little Dan hosting tonight, this morning, wherever you're listening to, like I just said. Tonight's episode, I've got Luke and Cheltenham Wolves. Tom's back for another episode. How are we, guys? I'll come to you first, Tom. How are you coping, mate? Another child in the last couple of weeks brought into the Wolves world. How are you finding it?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Can't complain, though. Haven't had much sleep, and also the first game that she was alive to witness I was watching in the hospital with her on my lap was the Arsenal game. So hopefully she's not a bad charm, because the last two games, quite frankly, we've been pretty poor. So, fingers crossed that changes on the weekend. Otherwise, I might have done a whoopsie and brought a bit of a bad omen for the rest of the season into the ball, but there we go. We'll see what happens.
She's been away from home so far. Hopefully, is she back home now?
Yeah.
So hopefully, Wolves back at home this weekend to Crystal Palace, 3:00 on Saturday. How are things with you at the moment, Luca? Father of two.
So, mate, just doing my thing now, mate. Just keeping my nut down.
Keep your nut down. Keep it going. Been on Premier League World in the last day yesterday.
I know, mate, it's been crazy. It's been a whirlwind.
Giving Michael Brown some abuse. Tell the listeners about it.
Yeah, so I was on this Premier League. What is it? Premier League Fan Zone or something? Premier League
That's
World.
It,
or something.
Yeah, Fan Zone. Yeah.
Michael Brown was on there, so obviously I had to ask him about Matt Murray palming his penalty away, which he wasn't too happy about. But you got
to tell him, mate. You got to remind him just in case he's forgot. But like you said in the WhatsApp to me, he must have nightmares about that. If you look at the picture when Michael Brown's lining up, Matt Murray was pretty much doing what Kepa did in the cup final the other day, where he was literally to the left hand, the right hand side of his goal, and it's like you've got all that room on the goalkeeper's left to aim at, and just lofted past into Murray's hands, wasn't it?
I mean, he said he felt that if the penalty would have gone in, that Sheffield United would have won that game because they was confident if that would have gone in. But I agree with him, to be fair, because I think when Murray saved that penalty, that was when it was like, this is us now. We've done it.
That was the clincher for all the pessimism that's ingrained in Wolves fans.
Yeah,
it was massive, that moment. I think even being friendly at half time, you always thought we could still cock this up. Did you go to the playoff final, Tom?
No, mate. How old was I?
3.
I was 9 years old, but I was at home
Tom.
watching with my old man. Yeah.
9 years old. I think I was 16. I remember having a can of Carling in the Cardiff Square that day, thinking I was king of the lads with my can of Carling. Let's get back to this weekend's game, home to Crystal Palace. Obviously, we've come off the back of two really heartbreaking defeats, but that's the classic Wolves way, isn't it? It's the hope that kills you. Luke, what was your quick thoughts on the West Ham performance and the result? We lost 1-0, but apart from the goal that we sloppily gave away, they never really tested Sarr again, did they?
No, not really. I mean, I think, did he make... No, that was the Arsenal game. He made that save low down. But yeah, they didn't really test us, but we were sloppy. It seemed like we never got started, really. And it was disappointing because West Ham was there for the taking. Even for a point, they was there for the taking. They wasn't great. I think we made them look better than what they actually was. It's just sloppy. It was just half a yard off it for 90 minutes.
Did you think there was just too many changes that was made, Tom, or was it just literally too many players having an off day again?
Yeah, no, when I saw the lineup, I kind of winced a little bit. I thought that there were too many changes, and I thought coming up against West Ham with the kind of changes that we'd made. I understand. Well, I try to understand the reason why the changes were made. I think that from the way that Raul had been playing, maybe he needed a rest, and maybe that was because he was just knackered, or maybe it was to actually kind of give him a bit of a kick up the arse to say, look, your place is at stake like the rest of the players. But also, yeah, just some of the other changes, I just thought, geez, I mean, West Ham, they're no easy team to come against, particularly away from home. And if I'm honest, with the end result, I wasn't necessarily surprised. They were there for the taking, and maybe on another day with a stronger team, we could have maybe created some chances, and the scoreline would have been different. But yeah, I agree with you, Dan. I think the amount of changes in the squad, it just kind of upset the status quo a little bit.
Obviously, you're notoriously banned from Twitter, Luke, so you tend to avoid the majority of slander that happens. What did you make to sort of the talk of Fabio and Hover getting quite a lot of abuse? What did you make of those two performances?
I have in Hove, if you want to go down the Jay-Z route. But
H to the over.
I don't think he's at the level required to play for Wolves and where we want to be. I hope I'm proved wrong. I hope he goes on to be a Ballon d'Or winner from right back, the next Reece James or Trent Alexander-Arnold. Personally, I just can't see it. Silva, again, I'll give Silva time. I still think Silva needs time. I think Silva needs a loan. I'd send him back to Portugal or to the Bundesliga, somebody who's between 8th and 14th in that league. Get him some minutes, get a bit of confidence in him, hopefully. But then we're in a position where we can't loan him out, because if Raul gets injured, suspended, who steps up? Squad's too thin. Herver, though, I mean, if you've put the news out today about Semedo, 4 to 8 weeks. What a loss.
Massive loss for how we set up the majority of games. And I think he's fed a lot of Wolves fans humble pie this season, hasn't he, Tom, with his performances compared to last season, where obviously not many people were allowed in stadiums, so you weren't really... it wasn't really visible how good he actually is for us and how important he is.
Yeah, I agree. I think I mean, I listen to this podcast a lot, and in some ways, from some of the conversations that I have with lots of Wolves fans, you know, there's an enlightened few from the beginning of the season who were going to say that Semedo is going to be such a core member of that kind of skeleton squad, play week in, week out, and be a massive part of our system. And I'm pleased, because I don't think it was fair for him to get the kind of how slated he got last year with no crowds in the stadiums and all the rest of it. But I think coming into the back end of the season, when we need to get as many points as we can, to lose Semedo, that is a real loss. And I think that those fans who are still not convinced on him, that's going to be a real realization. If you don't know what it's got till it's gone, I just think the people that are there to replace him are not of the same quality. And even though Semedo isn't directly involved with lots and lots of goals, his pace and the way he's just pushing up the pitch all the time, it's that presence which puts the defenders on the back foot and allows us to play in their area. And we're going to struggle. And if it's Hoover, whatever, who is going to be the man to fill his shoes, then I'm with you, Luke, mate. I'm not sold on him either.
I think one of the concerns for me was, again, and I hope I'm proved wrong, you know, I'd rather look like a fool and have these players perform. I think
a bit like Danny Batt. What was the Danny Batt thing he said years ago? What was it again? Danny Batt was going to play for England by the time he was 25, something like that. Was it? Remind the new listeners, Luke, of what the statement that you made on Danny Batt years ago.
What, remind everyone what I said?
Yeah.
Something like Danny Batt will play European football before he's 25 or something daft like that. Honestly, I thought he was going to get a move to somebody like Everton when Everton was doing half decent, but it never materialized. He needed me as his agent. That's what he needed. I would have got him that move. I would have talked him into that move all day.
Him and Dominic Iorfa still need to raise the game down there to reach the ceiling that we all thought they could reach.
But I thought Johnny looked half a yard off the pace as well.
When he came on against Arsenal, he did look well off it, didn't he? I don't think he sort of stood out like he looked like a liability during the game, but he just wasn't the same, but that'll come with sort of game time and
Yeah, I hope
learning Bruno's way of playing. I hope.
Yeah.
I really don't want to talk about this guy because, as you can see, I've already lost all my hair, so I ain't got much hair to pull out. But Francisco Trinco, guys, what's your opinion on him? Tom, I'll come to you first because when we discussed the player ratings after the game on Sunday, I think I was going to say to whoever was doing it on our Forza Football app I think there wasn't really anyone that got above a 6.5. Maybe it was like Fabio. I think Fabio maybe got a 6.5, 7 because I think he worked tirelessly. All his half chances he made for himself. But Francisco Trinco for me was a 2. 2 out of 10. I thought, honestly, he's fast becoming one of my most hated players in the Wolves shirt. You heard what I called him, floppy-haired C in the WhatsApp. I just think, like, for what the money that we're forking out on a weekly basis, this is another reason why I thought Hover looked even worse because he wasn't given any protection by him in front of him. Every time Keanu Hover got forward, he had no one supporting him, so he was having to just knock the ball past the left back and hopefully outgun Aaron Creswell. I felt so sorry for Hover on Sunday because he was just on a hiding to nothing, and a lot of it was purely down to Trinco and his laziness, his shirking of challenges, his constant just wanting to megs people and not do anything else. I love a nutmegs, guys. I love a nutmegs. But do something else because the same people that said Adama had no end product, Trinco's filling his boots for it. Agree with me, Tom?
Wow, that was a whirlwind, mate.
Honestly, he frustrates me so much. But
yeah,
carry on.
No, Dan, I'm on board with you there, mate. I think as I said, nice floppy hair, few nice Ralph Lauren shirts that he likes to show on his Instagram. Seems like a decent guy, but I just think the only real thing that's keeping him here is that Barcelona tag. I mean, he has not shown anything really to suggest that he's going to be able to really break into that first team. If you look at him and then look at Podence, and I just think that Trincao. I mean, back at the beginning of the season when he missed that sitter, was against Man United at home. He missed an absolute sitter, hit the bar or something like that. It was right at the beginning of the season.
He missed one against Man United at home, didn't he? But then he also hit the crossbar against Newcastle.
That's it. So he had those 2 chances, and after those, I just thought, has he got it? Like, it was those kind of chances where you need to be scoring those, and unfortunately, he is not necessarily. He's not covered himself in glory, and there's the argument he needs more minutes. He needs to start week in, week out, and then we'll see the best of him. But as I said, we're coming to March now. We've got 2 months left of the season, and it's just not good enough, really. I saw something in the news that he's going to go to Benfica, and then we're going to pay out some extortionate amount of money for another player with the surname Silva, who's a winger or a striker or something like that.
I saw the link to Rafa Silva the other day. You don't know whether it's just lazy journalism with the Wolves Benfica link, do you? But he has got some crazy stats this season, Rafa Silva. But I'd probably say it's paper talk. The thing with Trinco for me, and like you just mentioned, my uncle said to me at work the other day that he said from his memory, he's only had sort of 2 good games for Wolves, Trinco. And I think one of them was against Nottingham Forest in the League Cup. I mean, Luke, I didn't want to dig out Trinco on Twitter, but it's going back a few months now. And like Tom's just pointed out, we're in March now and he hasn't really been effective or productive. What was that Football Manager screenshot that you took ages ago about how much wages he's on a week?
Oh, yeah, he's on, well, according to Football Manager.
Which isn't usually far off.
Which is the gospel, we'll have no Football Manager slander around here. 125 grand a week.
Fucking hell.
125
even if we're paying 50% that wage, it's just to help. But apparently we'd paid like a decent initial loan fee for Trinco. I think that was a good few million. I don't know whether it was 3 million or 7 million from what I read, but I'm unsure.
I just don't. I mean, he won't mind me saying this. He'll probably revel in it, to be fair. But it's still going on now. It's still rumbling on now. I've had an argument with Mr. Bilston about Trinco. He loves him. Can't get enough of him. Now, for me,
I hope Russ. Sorry, Luke. I hope Russ is listening. He's a lawyer. All he wants to do is go against the grain. No way does he like Francisco Trinco. I'm having it. I'm having none of it.
He loves him. He absolutely loves him. The amount of stats I've seen on Trinco. I know Trinco better than my own fucking kids. The stats I've seen on him from Russ. But I mean, you mentioned the nutmegs. I did see a stat actually. It was a couple of months ago, but I think he's got the highest completed nutmegs in the league. Trincao.
He's on 13 nutmegs for the season now.
30? That's ridiculous.
13.
Well,
I
it's
mean,
a nice little souvenir he can take back to La Liga, wherever it is, when he goes back. But I mean, it's mad, isn't it? I think also, and I see loads and loads of noise about how well Adama's doing in Barcelona. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but when you think about La Liga, you've got 7-8 mint teams that could contend in the Premier League, and the rest, it's like championship start. There's a reason why Wolves always had a pre-season friendly against some kind of, middle of the table La Liga team, because the quality is not the same. And I feel like Trincao has come up against it in his season with us in the Premier League.
One thing about Trincao, which could potentially be positive, he's not a winger. If anything, he's a number 10. Just sitting in the hole in those pockets, finding a bit of space, picking it up, and just distributing from the 10. That's where I see him playing. Certainly not a winger.
he's so lucky that Stoke got relegated because he could not do it on Stoke on a wet Tuesday night. Because he can't even do it on Wolves on a sunny Saturday afternoon.
I mean, what has he brought? Like you mentioned, he's had 2 good games for Wolves. I mean, I can't remember them personally, but I'm not saying that he hasn't. But what's he brought this season, apart from missing a couple of sitters? Has he even created any chances?
I don't think he's got a registered assist in the league.
But even if you take the assists away, has he created a chance? That Silva's missed a sitter, or Raul's missed a sitter, Podence has put it wide. Has he created anything like that? I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
I'm going to bring in another guest here. It's the notorious Benny Esther, Crystal Palace fan. Hearing us absolutely slander Francisco Trincao. What's your sort of thoughts on Wolves at the moment, Ben? Obviously, we've got you on Saturday, 3:00. You've got yourselves in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, but you're only sort of I think it's about 10 points behind us in the league. Do you see yourselves trying to try and break into those like Conference League places, or are you too far adrift now?
Nah, it's probably a bit. I don't think we're really like competing for anything. We're not in any danger to go down. But to be honest, we're not in touch and distance of Europe at all. Wolves is not a team you really want to play at the moment. I think when we played earlier in the season, it was kind of like I was expecting us to win it, to be honest, because we was on a good bit of form. I think we just beat City away going into that game. But at the moment, it's a bit like you're a solid team, and we're I don't know what we're doing. We stagnated a little bit, but it's nothing you can really complain about because it's better than previous seasons. So it's one of those games really where it's probably going to be a 0-0. I'll take a 0-0 before kickoff, hands down.
We did have you on for the previous show when we played at your end, and I think you did predict for a Palace win that day. But Luke, I'll come to you first. What was your sort of memories looking back on that game? Because for me, myself, they did a complete number on us with a high press, didn't they? And just basically out battling us all across the pitch.
From what I can remember from that game, they pretty much dominated it. I can't remember us having too many clear-cut chances. I mean, just looking at the stats, 60% possession, 13 shots to our 4. Look at 772 touches to our 569. You know, they've bopped us off the park, to be fair. We've had more corners. That's probably the only positive we can say.
Is that really corners. A positive for Wolves having more corners?
but it's like the nutmeg thing again with Trincao, isn't it?
I'm actually quite surprised that Palace are as far down as they are, because they seem to start the season quite well. People have their doubts about Vieira, but I think looking at the players they brought in and the squad they've got, like Zaha, Edouard, Eze, is it Gaye at the back?
Yeah, it's a hard one to pronounce. I think it's Guehe. It's Gaye or Guehe, one of the two.
Conor Gallagher. For me, I think that's 5 top players, not top players, but 5 very good players. So. But then I suppose it just shows how competitive the Premier League is, doesn't it? To
be honest, performance-wise, we should be right up there. We've probably lost like between 9 and 10 points in the last 5 minutes of games, and probably a bit more if you're stretching it to the 80th in games that we thoroughly dominated as well. But it's probably we've got like world-class youth at the moment. It's really changed the whole dynamic of the team this season. But they probably haven't got the experience to see results out, so they're doing all the work to actually earn the result. And then in the last 5 minutes, they're just like chucking it away. But to be honest, to even be in a position where you can chuck a result away in the last 5 minutes is completely different to what we have been. So it's little tweaks here and there. To be honest, I think that most of the fans were expecting us just to stay up this season. We're going through like a massive rebuild, and anything above that would have been overachieving personally. So I think we've absolutely smashed it, to be fair.
What's your feelings on Crystal Palace this season, Tom? I think Luke sort of touched on it there, that they have sort of taken the league, I won't say by storm, but they have surprised a few, haven't they? I think Patrick Vieira's come in, stamped his authority on this side, and obviously with another season, another summer of recruitment for them, it's be interesting to see where they end up next season.
Yeah, I agree with what's been said before. I think that, they have exceeded all expectations, and you're talking about, survive this season and build next season. I think that, Crystal Palace fans, if I'm a Crystal Palace fan, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking that's a pretty solid return on some of the games, some of the results, some of the wins as well. It was the Man City win, was it? They won against Man City, which was, a really nice takeaway this season. I think the one thing I would be worrying about if I was a Palace fan is Conor Gallagher going in the summer, because he's been so integral to some of the great games and that you guys have had. It's one of those really. Whether he'll sign on a permanent, I'm not savvy enough with Crystal Palace's ins and outs of their transfers and things like that, but he's put on such a good performance that you would think he'd go back to Chelsea. I don't really know.
Yeah, I think it's a very slim chance he's going to come back to us. Even if Chelsea didn't want him, they'd probably ask a bit too much for what we're prepared to pay, to be honest. But he's very much a system player. Individually, he's a very good footballer, but I've seen him in a couple of games. He's ghosted quite a bit. There's no doubt that he's a good footballer, but put him with a different midfield pivot and he can go missing sometimes. So he's going to be a massive miss. But I think if we can find a player very similar to him that's easier to obtain, then it's not really a big gap to plug. It's not like we're going out and to find 6 or 7 players again to fix the gaps in the team. But no, just genuinely, just actually watching the football that's being played, the last couple of years has just been so boring and so dull. And sometimes you'd win 1-0 and you just walk out the stage and just be like, what a waste of a Saturday. But now, even if we're coming away from games like losing the last minute and stuff, I think I've probably left Selhurst twice this season, actually frustrated about what we've done. And that was Tuesday. Honestly, Tuesday night was the worst I've seen us play. So you're probably coming into us at quite a good time, because it's just couldn't string a pass together. I don't know if it was the weather or if it was Stoke, but it just, no one was showing for passes. They're looking a little bit tired, to be honest.
Obviously, you made yourself through to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. There's a Wembley trip on the horizon there, really, with the teams that are left. I saw you mention on Twitter earlier, if you can get sort of Middlesbrough or maybe Southampton at home, you've got a Wembley trip there, haven't you? To
be honest, I don't care if we get to the semis and get pumped 7-0. I just want to get to Wembley, mate. But to be honest,
Ben, you say that now, but when you're 2-0 up with 10 minutes to go and you lose 3-2 to Watford, you'll soon feel different.
That's a little bit different. That's a little bit different. I don't really fancy Borough away though. Borough away is not an easy fixture.
No.
Southampton is a bit of a dodgy fixture. I don't want Liverpool at all, home or away. But to be honest, we beat City away, and we're probably City's little bogey team in the past couple of years. So I wouldn't be too sad at City given the team's there. But I kind of want to avoid Liverpool and Chelsea. But then, Bournemouth, if they get through, I'll have a go at that. And even Forest Huddersfield as well. I forgot they're the other 2 teams. You're guaranteed at least another championship team down there.
Yeah, you want a home tie, don't you?
Home tie.
That's key. And like you said, just avoid Liverpool, because I was having another moan the other day, Ben, about the offside goal that they had against you with Firmino being offside.
Yeah, it was a joke, man. Honestly, there's so many things that it's a blind eye, and it's kind of like they're doing it on purpose a little bit. So there's so many refereeing mistakes that it gets to a point where it's like, are these actually mistakes anymore? Yeah. Can people be that incompetent at their job to make so many mistakes consistently that are favouring certain teams or favouring a certain result? It's kind of getting past that point.
Just look at the Everton Man City the other day.
Oh, that was ridiculous, that.
So they're not going to give that, but when Martinho jumped up at the Etihad, the referee couldn't give the penalty quick enough.
They've done that to us as well with Milivojevic against West Ham. All right, there was already 2-0 up, and was probably going to lose anyway. But it was near enough identical, if not less obvious. He's gone to control it with his chest, and his arms slightly got in the way, and it was higher up, and he just gave the penalty straight away. So it's just consistency, really.
My mates are convinced it's a swizz, as they call it. It's just a conspiracy that the bookies own football now, and whatever most money that they can make in a particular moment, that's what they instruct Stockley Park and the boys. Because, like we said, if that would have been Michael Keane instead of Rodri, that penalty gets given.
That's probably why it takes 3 minutes as well.
Did the VIR team create COVID at Stockley Park as well?
Do you want to take that one, Luke?
I'm don't have COVID conversations no more.
Luke's not allowed COVID conversations anymore.
Refuse to talk about COVID.
So have a quick look at the lineups from our previous game. Obviously, Wolves started with Keanu Hover at right back instead of Nelson Semedo. Fabio Silva starting in front of Raul with the front three of Trinco, Fabio, and Hwang. Hwang had a big chance just before half time, but you've got to be expecting the likes of Ait-Nouri, Jimenez, Podence, and maybe Moutinho coming in on Saturday. Do you agree with that, Tom?
I'd start Neto. On the weekend. Just go for it.
Give him an hour.
I think that he's looked so lively when he's come on in the past couple of games. You know, the amount of flair that he showed in pockets against West Ham, just buzzing to get forward, super strong, really skillful. I would definitely stick him on for Trincao. I would like to see Jimenez start again and keep Hwang on. I think that Hwang, you know, that goal he scored against Arsenal, he does offer something different. He's strong, he's capable, he's physical. And I do quite like him in the setup. I like the way that he plays. Also, I would like to see Moutinho come back in and, you know, Ait-Nouri for sure. But the main one I would be looking to see play on the weekend is Neto. I really, really want him to start and see what he's capable of. But yeah, as you said, Dan, not for the whole game, 60 minutes or so, but just really let him express himself and feel like he's part of that starting team that can try and push and create some chances.
Do you agree with that, Luke, bringing in Neto straight from the start, or do you still think he's just an impact player at the moment?
I don't know. He looks fresh to me. The 2 times he's come on, he looks fresh. Whether he's got 60, 90 minutes in the tank, I'd imagine you can get 60 out of him. But the boy is just magic. Do you know what I might even do? Remember when I had that bet with Gully about Neto getting more goals and assists than Podence about 2 or 3 seasons ago now?
Yeah.
I'm going to go double or quits with him on this season.
From this weekend?
No, he can have the whole season with Podence.
Podence only got 1 league goal, hasn't he?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a bit. Yeah. Is there any way that Bruno could prove us massively surprise us and finally go for that back 4? You've got sort of, you know, you could bring in Johnny at right back and Marcel left back and just go to a back 4 and just try it out for the rest of the season.
Possibly. I mean, Sayis, he's been at fault for a couple of goals now, hasn't he? And I love him. I love Sayis, you know. And I don't want to seem like we're just slagging all the players today, but you've got to ask questions.
It's all. I'm being Captain Hindsight here. Obviously, we were so poor against West Ham, and I think the majority of Wolves fans expected Wolves to go over a 3-man midfield against West Ham. Why didn't Kundal start? He started away at Tottenham. We got the win with him, Dendoncker, and Neves in midfield. Why wasn't that tried again?
Well, that's a hot take, Dan. Absolutely. I think that, you know, he was Mr. Consistent against Spurs, and arguably, I mean, Spurs fans would obviously say this, but they're a bit of a stronger, they're a bit more of a difficult team to play against away from home, potentially, on paper, maybe. But yeah, I guess we're looking around and maybe thinking what was the difference in the middle of the park, and Kundal could potentially be the answer. He kept things really neat and tidy against Spurs, and it seems like at times against West Ham we needed those players in the midfield just to kind of settle things down. It felt like everything was just very rushed from our perspective. It was either we were defending or we've got the ball and we need to get it forward instantly to try and make an impact, and there was no kind of necessarily any kind of passage of play that I saw frequently, which meant that we're comfortable on the ball and we're happy to play it around and then see what runs people make to be able to slot it through. And Kundal maybe could have made a difference. Who knows? It's hindsight is a frustrating thing.
It's that time of the YouTube episode, guys, where I ask you to tilt your head slightly for a few minutes. Ben, talk us through your side there. Who are the sort of... Do you expect that same 11 to start again on the weekend? What's the situation between Butland and Gator at the moment?
I don't know what's going on with Gator. I think they were kind of fighting for the first spot, and they picked up an injury last game. I think against Burnley, so to come off at half time. So I can't imagine they'll be back anytime soon. But to be honest, we've not put the same starting 11 out since like October, like back-to-back weeks. Midfield's always changing. The front three's always changing. The back four's not be the same. You'll see that back four exactly that. But you're probably looking at Kiata instead of Milivojevic, and then probably Gallagher and McCarver. But that front three can be anything. But it's so weird. We're just refusing to play strikers at the moment. I think Elise's nailed on. Wolf's nailed on. But it's either like Mateta or Ayew. And you'd think it'd be Edouard, because personally I think Edouard's one of the best attackers we've got at the club, but he's just not played for like the last month. He's not injured or anything, so I really don't understand what's going on there.
I mean, just looking at your squad there on the right, and you mentioned sort of Mateta and Edouard. If one of those two does come in, obviously Zaha goes over to the left, does he?
Yeah, so it'd be Zaha left, Elise on the right, and then Edouard and Mateta up front. Mateta's definitely up front. But you could see Zaha go up front if Edouard comes on and Edouard go out left, because Zaha's getting to a point now where he much prefers to be a striker.
We need Zaha to play striker against us. I think if you put him on the left up against Herver, he'll have a field day.
No, he's I don't know what's gone on with him. He just doesn't like taking on his man anymore. He doesn't like dribbling at people at all. He always cuts in and offers like an easy way out. I think that he's just trying to like edge his way to be a striker. But I think you've really got to look at Elise more than Zaha as the main danger.
Yeah,
I know when we had you on earlier on in the season, Ben, that you were pushing for Elise to start more games back then. Just give Walls a bit of an insight on how good Michael Elise is.
I'd be very surprised if he's still at Palace within a year. Like he's absolutely unbelievable for his age as well. He's just turned 20. I've probably seen him mess up a first touch twice in like the 10 games I've seen him play. Just the technical ability he has with the ball, it just looks so easy. It's literally like playing a game of FIFA. The guy does not make mistakes. He probably makes mistakes in like making decisions, but getting one-on-one with anyone in the league, and he somehow finds a way out of it. So, I mean, you've got to watch him cutting in on his left, because he's got absolutely a beautiful shot coming in from the left, but he can also switch onto his right and just be just as good. So I'd probably be a lot more scared of Elise than Wilf, to be honest.
Hearing that, Tom, and obviously Michael Elise plays on the right wing, do you still bring in Ait-Nouri to come up against him, or do you stick with Marcelo as a bit more? Who is more defensively reliable between Marcelo and Ait-Nouri?
Ait-Nouri, 100%. Some of the big tackles he puts in, I think that part of his game can sometimes come under the radar. I personally think that he's not afraid to go into a challenge, and he's quite fit, and he's willing to just kind of track his man. And he often puts in those tackles that go out for throw-ins and things like that. So if I'm Bruno on the weekend, I'm saying to Ait-Nouri, you need to do a kind of Park Ji-sung on Perlo with Ait-Nouri and Elise. Just stick on him, and not necessarily if the attacks happen, obviously go for it, but just you need to be watching him and being touch tight to him, really.
Just looking at our squad there on the left, Ben, who are you fearing most for Wolves at the moment? Now Adama's left.
I'd say Jose Sarr, mate, if I'm perfectly honest. He seems like he's bang on form, and we could have about 10 shots at goal without a goalkeeper in, and we'd be lucky if one went in. So I'm not looking forward to that at all. So
basically, you just think as long as if you can get the first goal, it's game over, is it?
I don't really know, to be honest, because we can get caught by set pieces. Corners have definitely been our weakness this season a lot, but defensively we're quite sound, and especially against the five at the back, we struggle to get goals rather than concede them. But I mean, it happens so quickly. I would be more Sorry that. Oh, we've just got Everton or Boreham Wood. Sorry, boys. I'll be more scared about us scoring goals rather than conceding them, because we make so many chances. I've never seen a Palace team make so many clear-cut chances, but it just looks like no one can score, which baffles me, because they're all so capable of putting the ball in the back of the net. And some of the goals they've scored, you think you do that all the time, but it's like they're reluctant to shoot, or they're like afraid to. And we waste so many. Like Liverpool, we could have easily scored 5 goals against Liverpool, like easily. But it's either luck or just not having, again, that experience, probably, because we've got so many young players, of knowing when to shoot.
Luke and Tom, I must have been a bit sort of unaware on Sunday, but I've just noticed that Toty didn't make the bench against West Ham, and Bolly was back on the bench. With Roman Sayers' mistake, do you think there's a chance that he could come in?
He's been out for a while though, and it's the match fitness. If he's match fit, then yeah. But it's been weird with Bolly, hasn't it? Because not really been told what his injury is. You know, have they said that he's had some illness a couple of times? Not really said if it was COVID or what.
You can say COVID, Luke. It's fine.
It was weird as well with the African Cup of Nations. Like, there was reports that he was there, and then reports that he wasn't there. It's kind of he's an international man of mystery at the moment. Like, who knows whether he's fit, whether he's there, it's an odd one.
Obviously, you just heard Ben mention that Crystal Palace have drawn the winners of Everton and Boreham Wood. I'll just come to you first, Tom. Based on that, who's your sort of money on to win the FA Cup?
I mean, it's a big one. I mean, if we start with Palace, I mean, we're putting money on Everton winning tonight. And who knows what could happen? That's the magic of the FA Cup. With that in mind, I mean, it's got to be the City, Liverpool, Chelsea, really, hasn't it? I would like to think that. I mean, I've got a soft spot for Borough. I don't know what it is, but when I was watching the Borough Spurs game, I was really rooting for them, and I remember watching them when it was the UEFA Cup years and years and years ago, with McLaren being the manager, and I just really rooted for them. I've got this kind of underdog mentality with them a little bit, but I mean, I would love Borough really to win it, or Palace, but it's got to be one of the big three, surely.
The way that draw's gone out, I'll be very happy with a semi-final. All the big teams, I've got the little teams, but away from home.
Shock.
Literally, Borough at home to Chelsea. I think Liverpool have obviously got the 2 championship teams, of course, and then Southampton at home to City, which just means just get me to Wembley, and I don't care what happens after that.
We need a Man City Liverpool final, really, don't we?
I was hoping for a quarter final between them two.
So we can't, because I win if Palace or Southampton win it, then it just takes away European place, doesn't it?
I don't know if it's the same. They change that every year. I don't know if that's the case anymore.
I think the FA Cup takes you straight into the Europa League group stages.
I think it could take conference. I don't know. I don't know what's happened with the Conference League and stuff, or it pushes you into conference.
God knows. I think we just play it safe and just let Man City win it for the millionth time.
Yeah, I hate Liverpool.
Well said, Ben. That's the reason I get you on every time.
Yeah.
Opportunity comes. Guys, we're just going to have a quick break, and then we'll look at game week 28 in the Premier League, and then have a quick little score prediction.
Hi all, Gully from Wolves Fancast here, and just like all of you long-suffering Wolves fans, I know exactly what it feels like to be lacking a creative spark here, some outside-of-the-box thinking there, but our sponsors Pixel Yeti Media are here to help. They're a creative agency that cover all of your web design, branding and marketing needs, with our very own WolvesFancast.com, a fine example of their work. So much so that I hear Jeff Shee is looking to do a deal this summer. For now, it's back to the team to ask just where the Diogo Jota money is gone. We may have just had our answer.
Game week 28 in the Premier League starts. Obviously, Wolves have got Crystal Palace 3 o'clock on Saturday. Ben, we usually ask our guests when they come on, pick me 3 teams that's going to win this weekend based on those fixtures there on the right.
Oh, I'm not good at that. Guaranteed wins. I would say Newcastle are on good form.
Newcastle on to Brighton.
And Brighton aren't on great form at all.
You just hate Brighton, don't you? Just admit it.
I hate Brighton. It's the first thing I look for, to be honest. We're not going to win against you. Brentford. I just see a lot of 0-0s, to be honest. Even the Liverpool West Ham game's not as clear cut as you'd think. I'd probably go City over United, and then Arsenal over Watford, because Watford were generally disgraceful when we played them. It was bad, mate. But yeah, that's what.
Just having a look at the league table there. Obviously, you're 10th on 30, 9 points in front of Burnley in 18th. Is there any chance that you guys could get distracted by the FA Cup and get drawn into that? I mean, Burnley got 3 games in hand on you there.
No, honestly, I think it's way too far gone. I can't even see really anyone under Leicester. I can't. That's what I'd say. It went from 14th to 20th, but I still think it's probably going to be the current bottom 3, or maybe Leeds. They're the only ones I could realistically see going down. But we're not going to get drawn into it.
Leeds have appointed Jesse Marsh in the last couple of days, so it all depends on how their new manager bounce guys. Well, obviously, Wolves have got Leeds at home in a couple of weeks. Anyone sort of feeling that Everton could go down this season? They have sort of overstayed their welcome in the Premier League, and to be honest, I think they need to be punished with a relegation for how much money they've wasted. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I think with Everton, they're such a mess at the moment. It's a bunch of different players brought in by a bunch of different managers that have all had to play a bunch of different systems over the past 5 years, and it's just confusion. It's just complete confusion. What's that young lad who plays for Everton? I've forgotten his name.
Gordon.
Yeah, he's been kind of their revelation this season. I think that even if they go down, they know that they've got a player in Gordon that could go on to captain the side, really. He looks on it. He looks really, really good. But yeah, I agree. I mean, look, as I think that Everton have got a cracking fan base, and they're kind of the Wolves school of thought, where they're happy if players put 110% effort in, even if they don't win a match. But yeah, I think that some bad decisions that have been made in the boardroom have left them in the state that they're in. And if they go down, then I guess that is just the consequence of mismanagement in the boardroom.
Where's your money going on this weekend, Luke? Tell me 3 teams there.
Right. So just to make things interesting, let's have Norwich to beat Brentford.
It's make or break for Norwich this weekend, isn't it, really?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Norwich to beat Brentford. See, I want Everton to go down, but I can't have Spurs winning this against Everton. Ooh, Spurs and Everton to draw. Really want Everton to go down. And then I think Southampton will beat Newcastle.
Yeah, that's on the Thursday fixture, the same night we play Watford at home. Looking at the sort of top half of the table just for a few seconds once it loads. We need another win, don't we, to get ourselves back. So we can't afford to drop points this weekend, can we, with our game in hand at home to Watford on Thursday. A win against 2 wins at the next 2 games, that should put us on 46. So you're hoping that you get at least above West Ham with them away to Liverpool.
I think we've got 4 of the next 5 at home, and that's going to be key. It would have been nice to have got a result against Arsenal or West Ham, but it wasn't to be. I think the way we need to look at the league now is we just need to look at it as a mini league from 4th to 8th. So a mini league of 5, and let's just see how high we can finish in that league. The next 5 games are massive. Mate, no doubt about it. They're absolutely massive. I mean, if we can turn Molineux into a bit of a fortress and, maybe get 9 points from the 4 home games and a point away from home, sitting on 50 points after 31 games, it's not too bad.
It's like you just said, that our next 5 games are absolutely huge. You've what was it again? When I just had the picture up. So we've got Crystal Palace at home, Watford at home. I mean, is there any team you wouldn't rather have away than Everton at the moment?
Wow, I mean, this is the thing. It's one of those with Everton away. I feel like it's a good time to play them. Really, it really is. Their confidence is completely shot. In fairness, they played really well on the weekend, and they did take the game to Man City. I thought that they did play some really good football, which could potentially unlock us as a team who aren't as good as Man City. But yeah, I feel confident going away to Everton. I look at those 4 fixtures. I think a draw against Palace, and then if we win against Watford, Everton, and Leeds, 10 points from those 4 games. It's very optimistic, but it's not out of the range of possibility.
I think if we work off a base of minimum 6, and then just take it from there, because I think even 6 points from those 4, it's still going to keep us in the race with 7 games to go. And for me, I personally think that the key is just staying in the race for as long as possible.
Sure.
Dan Levitt, first time viewer, usually a listener, says, don't know if you guys feel the same as me, but I'd rather us finish 8th and not 7th. Don't want to be in that green conference poop at all if we don't finish 6th. What's your feelings on that, Luke? Obviously, you just said it makes sense, but would you don't want to see Wolves in the Conference League?
No, I just think it's a waste of everyone's time. The only way I'd want to see us in the Conference League is if we was really going to blood through some youngsters and give them some game time. But then again, to be fair, it could be the perfect competition for silver next season. So, you know what? I have actually been saying very similar to what that guy said. Don't want the Conference League. Don't want it at all. But if it, if it can get silver, some good minutes, Herver as well, maybe.
Like Chem Campbell. Yeah.
Yeah, Chem Campbell. It may be beneficial, but I would use it strictly as like the League Cup. I'll treat it like the League Cup.
See, that's absolutely mental, because if you give me the option for Conference League, I'd do ridiculous things for that just for one season. And we're at similar level, really.
These 2 are wired, right?
If I go anywhere in Europe, follow Palace, oh my God.
Someone told me there's a chance we could play Benidorm on a Thursday night. Because that's the sort of teams that play in the Conference League. Benidorm, Karabag, Marbella United, these just crap European clubs. I'm all for it. I want to see Wolves back in Europe. Like you just said, Ben, seeing Wolves in Europe, I don't care who it's against.
You only got promoted like 4 years ago. We've been here about 8 years.
Glory hunters, Ben.
That's mental. Expectations too high. That's what it is at Europa League that time.
The club the owners have just wrote off £126 million, and these 2 don't want to see us back in Europe. Filthy.
All jokes aside, I'd rather take the FA Cup serious instead of that Europa League too.
Yeah, but Bruno didn't, and the club didn't. They lost to Norwich at home, so now we're finishing in the Europa Conference League place, and we're going back to Armenia again, which we missed out on last time.
All jokes aside, I mean, when I was at the Molineux watching Wolves in the Europa League, going to Wolves since I was 9-10 years old, and those were some of the best evenings I've had at Wolves, and the atmosphere, that Torino game and stuff like that, those away fans, and just it brought a completely new dynamic to that ground. I don't know if you agree, but some of those fans from some of those visiting teams from our small time in the Europa League it was a really good experience, and I'd take it. I'd take the Conference League. I mean, lots of people say it's a load of bollocks, but it's extra football, and as Luke says, it's a chance for maybe get the youth through. I don't know. We could treat it a bit like a kind of League Cup type situation, and then see what happens. But if it means watching more football from Wolves, then I'm on board.
Danny P with the comment, win the Conference League, gets Europa. I mean, you talked about focusing on the FA Cup, Luke. Focus on the Conference League, and we can have 2 years running of European football. What's your thoughts on that, Luke? Win the Conference League next season. Let's do it here.
I'm going to have to jump on board with the Conference League. I feel like I'm massively outnumbered here. And next time I step foot in the Molineux, I'm going to get absolute pelters, mate.
It's just like the name, though. Conference League. It's such a shit name.
Makes it sound like
it needs to get a better. It needs to get a better name. Like, for example, when Division 1 got changed to the Championship, it sounds a bit more, exciting.
It's the third tier of European football, isn't it?
And
the Fiat Pandorama League, they should call it.
The Anglo-Italian Cup, bring that back.
Yeah, that's what we want. Probably easier to win the Conference League than the FA Cup, Danny P says. And Hungry Like the Wolf says, we need new songs and a replacement anthem. European away night spawn the best songs. Let's get back to the game on Saturday. What's your score prediction, Ben? I want to put you on the spot before, because I know you're going to probably say like a 0-0, because I know you're quite humble. You'll never just say, Perth's going to turn up and stomp us. So what's your actual score prediction?
I'd be happy with a 0-0. I wouldn't be shocked at losing 1-0 or losing 2-0. So I'll probably go 1-0 loss, if I'm honest.
Guys, I wouldn't say I've known. I've spoke to Ben for quite a few years now, and this is his first trip to Molineux. Just give him an insight on how bad that away end is at Molineux.
It looks all right, to be honest.
It's terrible. Wolves away has to be the worst away day in the Premier League.
But how would you know that you've not been in the away end, have you?
I just know. I know Wolverhampton.
Because when I was buying seats, it's literally like 7 rows wide, which I thought was odd. But it's the whole side of the pitch, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which I would have thought it probably benefits us, because it doesn't matter what end we score at, your players can always run over to your fans.
Yeah, but you can't get anything going because the one side will start getting something going and you can't filter down to.
Yeah, no, I get that. I've got tickets in the middle. I think the middle always sells out quite quick. So I've got tickets in the middle just for that.
You might be a bit alright. It's up to you to get them going, really, Annie. Because I don't know about you guys, Luke and Tom, but when the away end get going, the home fans actually start singing, don't they? Where Molineux is it's a fortress when the home fans get going.
Have Palace sold out? Because Palace, I'm sure Palace usually leave a couple of flanks, don't they?
Literally, every away game this season has been so hard to get tickets for. My tickets haven't turned up anyway. Our box office is awful at the moment. But they put a tweet out earlier saying it's going on general sale tomorrow at 1 p.m, which I was shocked about, to be honest, because last couple of seasons they've not been selling out at all, because it's just like, why would you want to go halfway up the country just watch boring football? But this year, it doesn't matter what the game is, it's sold out. I think it's probably going to be one of the first ones that hasn't sold out. But you never know. I think there's only a couple of
away though. That's why, mate. Everyone knows.
That's what it is, Ben. Everyone knows how bad. I was explaining to Ben, like literally, I think there's only one away pub, and it's a table chain, Ben. So it's not like a
I've been told it's awful.
Yeah, saying
20 minutes for a pint.
You can't get into any pub on match day without a home ticket. Honestly, I would try and drink outside of Wolverhampton and make your way in for like 3 o'clock if you're going to. But Hungry Like the Wolf says, isn't Peterborough away uncovered and on scaffolding? I mean, even with that, Wolves is a worse away game.
One of the worst away ends is Loftus Road. I don't know if you've ever been there.
Yeah.
And to be honest, Vicarage is bad as well. You could park a car sideways in the concourse. It's so small. But yeah, Loftus Road is awful. It's like a tin.
You can't even see the pitch. I remember I went there when Fulham was playing at Loftus Road for that season. Played Fulham away, 0-0, terrible game of football. And I was on the top tier near the back, and you can't even see from like the 6-yard box.
Yeah, so bad, isn't it?
So bad.
What's your score prediction for our game at home to Palace, Tom?
I think we're going to win 1-0, and I think Neto's going to score.
He's due a winner, isn't he, Lukey?
Yeah. Do you know what? Because we struggle to score, Ben mentioned Palace struggle to score, even though they have loads of chances. I'm going to go 4-1 Wolves.
You better get 4 corners, I reckon. That's what you need to...
Neto brace, Neves, and Rahul.
I reckon a Cody brace, mate. You put him on corners. Whoever loves getting in corners. You got that? Who's that? That Kilman's quite tall, isn't he?
Oh, he's a beast.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I'd probably, mate. I'd have him on for a brace.
You have mentioned this before, haven't you, Ben? That usually players who don't score very often are the ones that usually do it against 100%. Palace.
If someone's never scored a Premier League goal, or
Marcel, guys, let's get our money on Marcel.
Really, mate. Really, I can just see it happening as well.
A Marcel cross that just goes over. But
happened with Matt Doherty. I think it's his first ever Premier League goal at Selhurst. That's the one that comes right to the top of my head. But it's just everyone who hasn't scored. Matty Loughton for Burnley hadn't scored in. It just got so laughable. Trevor Chalobah, first game of the season, scores like a 30-yard rocket for Chelsea. It's his first one and only goal, which is like it's unbelievable, mate. So yeah, I'd have your money on Marcel.
2-1 Wolves, my prediction, and that would be great if Luke Cundle was on the score sheet on Saturday. Guys, I don't know about you, but I need a new phone case, and our friends at the Football Cases have got a new Pedro Neto phone case that has just gone on sale this week. If you use discount code FANCAST8-3, I should have really done it FANCAST10. for the 10% discount, but we beat all the other Wolves channels out there, didn't we, Luke? 8-3.
No, I see the reference now. I see the
Yeah.
reference.
8-3. I know, Ben, you're a YouTuber in the Crystal Palace community. I don't know if you actually are you still doing that?
If I could be asked, yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Imagine all the sort of Palace hatred that you get, or the sort of, I know you have a bit of a tit for tat with West Ham fans quite regularly on Twitter, I've noticed.
Yeah.
Imagine if you played a team full of all your social media rivals and you beat them 8-3. You'd never let them forget it, would you?
Never, mate. 8, that's embarrassing. God.
Yeah, well, we've been humble. We're humble with you.
We try and be humble,
mate.
but we just put out discount cards, rubbing it in their face now.
Yeah, no, yeah. Yeah, they can't humble about that. They wouldn't be humble on the other foot. That's you got to get in there first.
No, we would be constantly in the mud if we'd have got beat 8-3. But guys, we're going to finish off with a quick quiz, and you can stick around for this time because it's Wolves Crystal Palace based. The first question is: former Wolves and Crystal Palace striker Adi Akinboye played one international game for Nigeria. Who was it against? I'll come to you first,
quizzes.
Ben.
I hate your quizzes.
It's just
This
guess.
one's so easy, isn't it? I'll say England.
Tom,
Oh, mate. I don't know. Ivory Coast.
Luke.
South Korea.
The correct answer was Greece. Unlucky, guys. We'll quickly move on to question 2. So you can struggle with this one.
There was literally 179 other countries.
If you was a hardcore Wolves fan, you'd know that. There'll be someone who tweets in after, I knew that. They won 1-0, and Victor Ikpeba scored the winner. Second question. I think we might have had this on a Wolves fancast quiz before. In his 19-year career, how many red cards did Kevin Muscat receive?
I'm going with 12.
19 years. How many red cards? I'll come to you first, Tom.
12.
12. Ben.
I was going to say 11.
Luke.
21.
I bet it's like 6.
He's got to have at least one a season.
The correct answer, and one of you's got it right. It's Tom. 12 red cards.
He only had 12.
Yeah, because like you think he was a dirty bastard, but quite cute of avoiding reds. I think he got a lot. Do you want to know? We'll have a bonus question. How many yellow cards did he get? Because I know the answer to this as well. 19 years. How many yellow cards?
That's going to be triple digits, sure.
Only 130.
130. Luke.
Hold on, I'm trying to do some quick maths here.
Even if like you was to do some sort of maths, let's say like he had 2 yellows which became a red, that's 12. So that'd be like 24 red. 24
He's got to be
yellows.
on about 7 a season. 133.
I'm going to go 140. Fuck it.
What was your guess, Ben?
130.
What was yours, Luke? 130?
33.
The correct answer was 123.
Oh.
So we'll give Ben that one. And the last question is, and one of you, ideally, Ben or Tom needs to get this because I've got no tiebreaker. Former Crystal Palace defender and current England head coach scored twice for England. Can you name the 2 nations he scored against? So there's 2 points up for grabs here.
I don't like the England national team at all. So
no, we've had this conversation before, but I'm not sure about you. But it's fully club before country with me.
100%.
Name the 2 nations that Gareth Southgate scored against for England.
They're gonna be bad, aren't they?
And it wasn't Germany.
Does England count? He's probably scored an own goal, isn't he?
All right, okay, I'll go. Let's go for Republic of Ireland, and let's go for shit, man. Let's go for Portugal.
Luke,
I want to say Denmark and Colombia.
I say Spain and Scotland.
guys, I ain't got a tiebreaker, so unfortunately, Ben and Tom are going to have to draw this week. The correct answers were Luxembourg and South Africa.
Of course, yeah.
Thanks for those who have actually commented on the YouTube channel tonight. Continue to listen and support the YouTube channel, Wolves Fancast, part of the 90min.com network. Follow us at Wolves Fancast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, OnlyFans, Pornhub, wherever you can find us. Luke's joining us on OnlyFans cast soon, aren't you, Luke? Kim's already set up on there. At Wolves Fancast /official Smithy.
Fancast, man. We need to get that started. Also, before we go, shall we just have a quick mention for Wolves under 18s who are in the FA Youth Cup semi-final, and they play Man United at Old Trafford, and the club, the tickets are free, and the club are putting on subsidising
the travel up to Old Trafford to see Wolves play Man United in the FA Youth Cup semi-final. So if you've got the day, the afternoon free, we'd implore you to join the club and help support the Babbies in their semi-final fixture against Man United. Or even if you just want to be cute and scammer, I think they're asking for a £3 donation to the Wolves Foundation, but it's not mandatory.
Yeah.
So even if you need a quick trip to Man United or up to Manchester, £3. Roll safe, brothers.
That's minimum fare in a taxi before you've even got down the bottom of the road.
Couldn't even get from the Cleveland to town for £3.50.
Exactly, mate.
Guys, we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.